Good morning. We don't remember data, we remember stories. As children, we have never memorized the definition of honesty. We have learned honesty through a story, a fable of a boy who cried wolf. A bored shepherd boy cries wolf to trick villagers. Twice they rush up for help and finds nothing. Angry, they woo not to respond again. When the real wolf appears, the boy cries, "No one comes," and he loses his flock. I have always wondered how this story has been in our memory for so long, even after we have forgotten so many other things. Because we have not memorized it, we have lived it. It has shifted our perspective on honesty, made the lesson real, and it stayed for life. And that's exactly what I believe learning will benefit when it is rooted in context and dialogue. As a management educator, I have seen this happen with case studies. Cases takes information, data, and theories and ask, what if you were in that situation? What if you were the decision maker? And that question flips the classroom. It makes the learners to shift from mere spectators to active participants. And that shift from knowing to being is what a meaningful learning should look like in the age of AI. During my morning walks up in the Chamandi Hills, Mysuru, I used to listen to a documentary about Alexander the Great. Somewhere between the rhythm of the climb and rhythm of the narration, I have realized something. Context-based learning is not something new. 2000 years ago, Aristotle tutored the young prince Alexander. He did not teach him the formulas of war, but he narrated him the stories of rulers who have decided exceptionally well and about rulers who have failed disastrously. The facts of the history remain the same, but Aristotle flipped the narrative by asking Alexander, what would you do differently if you were in that position? And at that point, history has become a leadership rehearsal for Alexander. Alexander not just made history, not just learned history, he made history. And I believe that is the true power of context in the process of learning. Because context creates narration, and in turn, narration sparks dialogue, which is very essential for learning process. But why do stories and context be so powerful? Because it simulates experience. If I describe a manager in crisis, you will instinctively start to think yourself in that particular position. Because facts inform, only stories transform. Cognitive science supports this. Narrative transportation helps us live in the story. Images plus words eases our memory. Context evokes empathy, and it helps the retrieval of information effortless. And that is why case studies are so powerful in context-based learning. In my class, students will look at the same balance sheet or financial market data, but they'll see that from the eyes of a CEO or investor or a policy maker. So whenever that shift happens, learning deepens. Over the years, I have realized something that cases reveal, which usually lectures hide. It's about limitations of theories. Porter's five forces model may work in a particular context of the market, but it may fail in another. Financial prediction models may be good in predicting until your human behavior interrupts, and context gives the clarity about the limitations of applications of theory. We know research creates theories, but it is cases which takes those theories to real life. In other words, if research gives us the map, context shows the journey, and that journey is much more important today than ever in this AI-driven environment. Because algorithms may give you answer, but they are having limitations in understanding the nuance, empathy, and judgment. That's why context-based learning will help us move beyond the answers of algorithm and understand what it means for human life. And it helps us to get the information between the data points. As Harvard Business School states, case method is not just about right answer, it's about asking right questions. As a case author, reviewer, and editor, I have seen how shifting perspectives transforms learning. Some of my cases, nominated globally and purchased in thousands, are not effective because of exotic data or analysis it uses. They are effective because it presents the real life information as human dilemma. In one of my classes, I was teaching the course AI and Analytics in Finance, where we have to discuss about the application of algorithms in the financial institutions like banks, specifically for loan automation, credit analytics like that. Of course, the topic was too technical, and I could realize the class was silent. But then I have started to discuss a case. By then I was drafting, which brings the same information as a context of a small finance bank with a human dilemma between a banker and a customer. The entire class came alive. Students jumped in and understood it and discussed, debated about the application of algorithms, its limitations, bias, and ethics, and I have got a lot of new insights. And in that moment, I have realized cases are not just to teach the students, it also teaches the teachers too. I have enriched the draft, and then it got published as Algorithm Justice Moving Towards Equitable Artificial Intelligence, and it was selected as Editor's Choice for 2024. Moments like this made me realize cases will help us to understand new things every time when we approach it newly. I emphasize this again. We are living in a world drowning in data, in information. It is everywhere. But we will get wisdom only when we question, what do these numbers mean for people, for society, and for future? And case studies help us to go beyond the narration and understand the human relevance of the information. Because it involves us in the process. As Benjamin Franklin states, tell me, and I may forget. Teach me, I may forget. Involve me, and I learn. And cases is exactly that's that particular process. It become effective when we stop memorizing and we start meaning what we are learning. As I look back on this, stories, cases, flipping narratives, I realize all these are not mere theories. I have shaped this thought process through whatever I have read and whatever I have experienced over these years. For instance, the timeless wisdom of Socrates and Aristotle, and ethical aspects of Panchatantra, or even the lyrical insights from the Tamil literature have given me insights about the power of context and dialogue and narration in the learning process. Because in this fast changing world, knowledge is not about knowing, it's about reconciling the known information to the present realities, or else it will get outdated so quickly. Reassuring and reinterpreting what we already knew in the present context or reality will help us to get insights about the evolving meaning in time, with time, experience, and context. As we move deeper in the age of AI, it's not just knowing, it's about seeing, feeling, and thinking beyond the information, and understanding the human reality is what matters. Think about it. What if every classroom and every boardroom start to see the human story behind the numbers? Because algorithms may predict, only humans can understand. Machines may calculate, only humans care. That's why I believe future of management education, perhaps the leadership itself, lies not on accumulation of new information, it's about getting human insights and its relevance for the society. The best classroom, boardroom, and technologies are not those just help us to understand or get new information. It should help us understand each other in a better way. I'll conclude. When we embrace context and dialogue in the process of not just in education, but also in society, science, or even in religion, three things will happen. We will learn better, we'll understand theories in real life settings, and most importantly, we learn to see life through others' eyes, which is very important in this chaotic global environment. And I have come to realize the true power of learning lies in bringing shifting perspectives and narratives through context and dialogue, which is very vital in the age of AI. Because, I repeat, at the end, algorithms may predict, but only humans can understand. Thank you.